This is the On the Mark podcast, bringing you facts, opinions, and personal experiences from the outdoor industry.
I got the opportunity to shoot an AR-15. That was one of the funnest experiences that I've had.
It's pretty exciting. It's a big rush.
Presented by Sightmark, an industry leader in optics, bore sights, night vision, and more. Make your mark. Welcome to the On the Mark podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Hamilton. Today, joining us via Zoom, I've got competition shooter Marius Kazanskis. Is that right, Marius?
That's correct. That's correct.
Awesome. Let me bump your volume up just a tiny bit here. Try that. That sounds a little better already. Dun, dun, dun. I keep all this technical stuff in there to make
no problem.
Make all my viewers mad.
No rush.
Marius does a lot of shooting for IPSC, which is International Practical Shooting Competition, and then also IDPA, right?
I was member of IDPA 2016 and 2018.
Okay, and IDPA is the National Defense Pistol Association. So tell me, what are the differences between the two? One is International Practical Shooting, the other is International Defensive Pistol. What are the two differences between those two organizations?
Well, mainly only the rules.
Okay.
One is like the open, you just shooting wherever you see, you get your own plan. Mm-hmm. And the IDPA is just a different rules, but the main factors, they are the same. You have to shoot as fast as possible and as accurate as possible.
Precision, power, speed. That's what I kept seeing over and over.
Yeah, it's same in both sports.
Oh, gotcha.
It's the same, just the different rules.
Very cool. Well, do me a little bit of a favor. I want to do an introduction to you and who you are and how you kind of got started shooting. Take me all the way back to the early stages. I mean, what made you get into shooting sports? Okay,
so when I was a kid, let's say 30 years ago, when I was like 4 or 5 years old, yeah. I already had conditions at home to shoot air guns, and that's how it started. Yeah. And then I had a gap, and later in high school, I went to shoot Olympic disciplines in the sports school, and some years later, I joined the IPSC.
I got you. Okay. Well, and now looking at everything you've done, I mean, tell us a little bit about your time in these organizations, because you've just been stacking up awards and medals. I mean, I was looking at your social accounts and it was just like, there was too many. I started writing them down. I'm like, there's too many. You know what? He knows them.
Yeah.
Give me a rundown. Yeah. What are some of the biggest accomplishments that you've been able to get so far?
Probably the accomplishments which I'm the most proud of is that I am the only Lithuanian currently who won the level 3 competition. It's IPSC sanctioned competitions in 4 different disciplines. That mean handgun, PCC, rifle, shotgun.
Okay.
I am 7 times Lithuanian champion. I won matches and was in top 4 in countries like Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Poland, Germany. Well, I'm member of IPSC national team, and I don't know. That probably would be the main ones.
Okay, very cool. So, where are you from? Yeah, the listeners here are gonna realize you've got a unique accent.
Yeah, I'm from Lithuania. It's Eastern Europe.
Okay, I got you. One of the things I saw was you've actually got quite a few companies that are sponsoring you. Can you name off who's backing you on these competitions?
Well, currently I have 16 sponsors, and the main ones would be gun sponsors is Gram Power, Slovakian, small handgun, small guns manufacturer. The rifle sponsor is Oberlin Arms. Okay. It's a German company, and the shotgun sponsor is Benelli. Well, I
Okay.
believe this company everybody knows.
Yes, very familiar with Benelli.
Yeah, and the main sponsor is Fiocchi. It's Italian ammunition factory. We are working with them since 2016.
Okay. Very nice. Well, now currently your sponsors help you out a whole lot to be able to go to these competitions and compete, and it sounds like be very successful. But back
Well, yeah.
when you first got started.
Okay, so I started in 2009.
Yeah.
And well, when now I see, well, that time it's completely different, because when you have sponsors, you can do much more. You can compete more, train more, and well, do lots of things.
Absolutely.
When I started, I had the wrong gun, because it wasn't for the IPSC is a sport. I had the gun which was not for the sport, but I enjoyed it from the first competition.
Yeah.
I still remember I was like 49 of 55 shooters, I think. But I enjoyed a lot the competition, and I start training, and it get better and better.
So you started out with the wrong gun for the competition.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you came in pretty close to last, but
yeah.
you had really enjoyed it. So you just started training and getting better and better.
Yeah, absolutely correct.
So when you first start out and you've got no sponsors, what's the struggle there? How do you make that work? Is everything out of pocket? You got to supply your own ammo and stuff like that?
Okay, so first 2 years, yes, it was absolutely out of the pocket. But during first 2 years, I was, let's say, at what I could do, I was pretty successful with that gun which I had and with the resources I had. Yeah. And in 2011, I was offered to join one of the European factory team, which who created the team for the Baltic region.
Yeah.
So they offered me to be one of the 4 shooters for the team, and that's how it all started.
Oh,
After that, I was in the team for 3 years. We started to working there with the different companies, and step by step in 2014, I already was individual shooter for the Gram Power.
Oh, very nice. Very cool. So you shoot, it sounds like, all divisions for IPC. Is that right?
Not all. Well, there are disciplines, I believe 6 or 7 disciplines. I'm not shooting air action. And so I don't shoot.
When you say disciplines, you're talking about the different categories. So like there's pistol and shotgun and rifle.
Okay, let's say like this. Disciplines is, let's say, handgun, rifle, PCC, and shotgun. Absolutely different guns, right?
Okay, yeah.
When we talk about divisions, it's, let's say, pistol, it's production, standard, open.
Gotcha.
You're shooting handgun, but you can modify it more, and can't modify it in production, and all these things.
And then you've got like revolver and stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I shot production for 10 years. That's what in IPSC handgun. That's how I started. So it was 10 years in production with the pistol, and I started to shoot long guns. I believe in 2017. It was PCC. It was just coming to the Europe, because I believe in United States PCC you had much earlier, but when it came to Europe, Gram Power offered me to try that one, and I enjoyed it a lot. It's race division.
Right. So what's your out of all the different divisions that you shoot, what's your favorite?
Let's say PCC, because it's probably the most natural for me, because I like speed. I like the dynamic shooting, and PCC, it's all about that.
Gotcha. So on these competitions, what's the scoring system like? I know they're all going to be kind of different, but are they pretty rigorous in how they score you?
Well, in IPSC, you are shooting a stage, and we are counting the points. There are 3 target zones in the target. That means alpha is 5 points, Charlie 3 points, delta 1 point.
Yeah.
The metal target is 5 points, and you just have to fall. In each target, there should be 2 hits.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
and there is like misses, speed penalties, procedures, and all these things which minus your result.
Gotcha. So who's your arch nemesis at every competition? When you show up, who's the guy you're like, hey, I get or girl, I got to beat? Is there men versus women? Do they separate out the groups?
First of all, we shoot all together.
Okay.
But there are categories like senior ladies. They had
Gotcha.
separate awards.
Gotcha. Who's your nemesis? Who's the guy that you're like, oh, that's my competition?
I don't know. I respect all of my opponents.
You got them all. Okay. All right. Sometimes I like to throw out a curveball in there, see if I can get some heat started. Very cool. So let me ask you something real quick. Here in the States, we've had, in the last 2 years, we've had a series of events that has led to a pretty big ammo shortage overall. People are having a lot of difficulties getting ammo, and being European based. I was just curious, are you guys seeing similar things there?
Well, I heard that. I see people have same problems in Europe, but I'm blessed that
You're
I'm
taken care of.
Yeah, I'm sponsored by the big factory who took care of all these things. Shooting different disciplines, it's different ammo and different resources. So I'm really happy that I have Fiocchi.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but in Europe all around, are they like, would the general public be having issues with the accessibility to ammo and stuff like that? Like, I'm just wondering if there was a trickle effect from the United States out to everywhere else, or if we were like the only country struggling.
I heard that companies from Lithuania sending ammo to USA.
Yeah.
It's like big orders. Yeah. But people talking about that, but I don't see like a big problem right now. We still have it in the market.
Gotcha. We are finally starting to get it back. Right now, you can see a lot of 5.56 and 9mm coming back onto the shelves, but some of the other other popular rounds, like your 300 Blackout or your 30-06 and your 7mm, those are still kind of rough to come by. But we're overloaded with shotgun ammo now, and overloaded with 5.56 and 9mm now, which is, praise God, because at least people can get ammo and get out there and shoot, because that's what it's all about. Is a lot of us that don't have ammo sponsors we're kind of struggling for a long time to get out and shoot, just based on the lack of availability over here. Thank God it's starting to come back a little bit.
Well, you see, the main calibers in IPSC, the most popular probably calibers is 919 or 223 for the rifle.
Gotcha. Very nice. I'm just writing. I'm making some notes because, like I told you before, and anybody else, if y'all are watching this or you're listening to this, I want a full disclosure. I'm the backwoods redneck hunting guy. I know very little about competition shooting, so I'm leaving it all up to Marius to give me the information here as far as competition shooting goes. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about well, let me see here. Hold on one second. I got my notes all mixed up. The good thing about these is I can cut all this stuff out when I mess up.
Okay.
In the post editing. Oh, that's right. I had you had some toys you wanted to show us. I say toys.
Yeah.
What do you got? What do you got loaded up for us today?
Well, first of all, that's my 223 rifle.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, for the rifle discipline.
Okay.
It's over Lantanos, German made.
Very
Sightmark
nice.
scope.
Which
mini red dot.
Which Sightmark scope and red dot is that?
It's Citadel 1-6 scope. And the mini red dot.
Very nice, on a 45-degree mount there.
Yeah.
So when you're doing the competitions with that rifle there, I mean, walk me through kind of how that goes. What are the steps you have to? What are the targets you have to hit to be able to, place in that competition?
Well, normally for the rifle we shoot up to 350 meters distance.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. So
that's about for 350 meters for people over here. That's going to translate roughly to about 400 yards. wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, so I use scope 1 to 6 for that, and I zeroed my mini red dot. I shoot it like from 30 meters, so about 40-yard distance or closer.
Very nice.
Yeah, so, well, that's how it looks like.
So you're going to be shooting your red dot for anything close range, and then when you push it out further, you're switching over to the Citadel 1 to 6. Is that a first focal plane, I'm assuming?
Yeah, it's first. I think it's first focal plane.
When you zoom in, the reticle enlarges with the zoom?
Yeah.
Well, that's actually a cool scope in that aspect, because I have the same one on my 5.56. And what I like about it, it's very similar to like a red dot, especially when you zoom in the power on that scope. The reticle enlarges, and the way that reticle is set up, it actually looks like a red dot, especially when you illuminate the reticle. But that's pretty cool. So you do a lot with Sightmark. As far as competition shooting goes, I mean, how reliable has Sightmark been for you?
Well, there is an interesting story about me and Sightmark, because in 2017, when I received the offer to shoot PCC, I started to search for the Red Dot Sports sponsors. So later, in a few years, maybe later, I met a Sightmark representative here in Lithuania, and he told me that story that when I sent my request, they had only the warehouse in Europe, and they didn't had a single product. So it was like a good, a good timing.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure is that correct, but I think that I am the first European who was sponsored by Sightmarks. I mean, first European IPSC shooter.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So overall, I'm really happy with that, because I have red dots which are already shot like 40,000 rounds. The scope already shot around 20,000 rounds. No problem. It's still running. So I'm really happy with that.
Very nice. So what else you got? We saw the 223. You got anything else?
That's my PCC, the Grand Power, the Slovakian.
Very nice. And you got 2 more Sightmark red dots on that one too. What you got, the RSpec, or is that which one is that? The RSpec?
No, you mean the model of the gun?
No, the red dot that you've got on the bigger red dot.
It's the M-Spec, the Sightmark.
Oh yeah. Okay, I see it now. Yeah, you got the M-Spec on both of them, mini M-Spec and full-size M-Spec.
Yeah, so gotcha. Mini here again. And I will answer. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. What is that rifle?
It's a Slovakian Grand Power Stribok, the third version.
Gotcha.
So what I want to talk about is people very often ask why I put 2 red dots on the same as like shooting for different distances. So it's not. First of all, the second red dot is for emergency, in case something happened to me in one. Never happened. But if I wanna win matches, it could not ever happen.
Right.
So it's first of all, and the second of all, it's for shooting through the left barricade. That means I just need to rotate the gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Actually, I had not even considered, like, if you had an issue with a failing optic out during a competition, I mean, if you didn't have a backup ready to go, you'd be SOL. You'd be out of it.
Yeah. So
that's super smart.
I can let that happen.
Very nice. Cool. So we've got the 223 and your PCP. You got anything else? You got
and the PCC, and that's the Benelli M2 Speed. It's absolutely new model.
Oh,
I think it was released only this year. I shoot the shotgun modified division with it.
Oh wow. Yeah.
It's absolutely competition ready out of the box.
Wow. Yeah, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
For the shotgun division, do you shoot like clays, or I mean, are they flying targets, or are they all stationary? How's that work?
It's absolutely the same like in rifle or PCC. Gotcha. We shoot mainly in shotgun, we shoot metal targets.
Right.
So it just had to fall down.
Okay.
Sometimes we have stages which we shoot with slugs. It's a paper targets.
Oh, gotcha.
And we shoot at buckshots too. but
Gotcha.
sometimes they make a stages with the clays, but it's very rare.
Oh, gotcha. So for your shotguns, if you're shooting buckshot, then it's going to be just hitting over metal targets, and as long as the metal target falls, then you're awarded the points. But if you're shooting slugs, it's going to be accuracy based, right? You got to get closer to the bullseye on the paper target.
Normally for the slugs, they put paper targets far away. I mean, metal targets far away, and you shoot. You have to hit the paper targets twice.
Very nice. Okay, cool, awesome. So what red dot is that you've got on that one?
It's the same mini, probably the most popular.
Oh, the mount threw me off. I didn't recognize it from the other side.
It's actually a Sightmark mount too.
Yeah. Okay. Very nice. I like it. So, what's your experience been so far with just Sightmark in general at the competition shootings? I mean, have you had any issues? Have you experienced anything that just made you think like, maybe I should start looking into a different red dot?
Never happened. Everything for last 5 years, everything has worked just perfect. I don't have any issues. Well, no problem. That's why I'm winning, at least in my region.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's one of the things that we want to get more people involved, even though I am not a competition shooter and I haven't explored it. Over here, we have a lot of competition shooters, but we've been wanting to get more people involved with competition shooting and our products. So just having your testimony, someone who's wildly successful in competition shooting, running our products on a daily basis, speaks volumes. And you said you've shot through a ton of rounds with these optics. For as successful as you've been, you got to have some pretty rigorous training exercises too. How often would you say you're training for these competitions?
Well, first of all, I try to train, let's say, 10 months per year. 2 months should be off because I want to rest, and next year to jump on again with new motivation, with new energy. It's very important thing.
Yes.
In sport. Normally, it depends on the competition I prepare for. So let's say it would be 1 to 4 trainings per week.
Yeah.
And per training, I would shoot. If it's 9mm PCC, it would be like 250 to 500 rounds per training per one. Rifle 200 shots, and a shotgun 200 shots per training.
Very nice. So do you have a special place that you go to do these trainings? Is there a range close by that you utilize, or do you have your own setup? I mean, you would have to set something up that's very similar to the competitions you shoot, right?
No, I don't try to set up things like in a competition. I use a little bit different technique for that. I like to work on some elements which I see, which I have like a weak side at. So I work on those things. Very nice. Before competition, I just want to be self-confident. I do things which makes me self-confident, which I see where is my speed, where is my accuracy, and all these things.
Very nice. Okay. Well, I have a little bit of a, I don't know if you'd call it a political question, but your 223 side of your competition, I mean, obviously you're running with an AR platform rifle. Over here, anytime we're working, as Sightmark and trying to market, the United States is very different from Europe as far as, what our marketing approach is. A lot of times over in the European countries, we're trying to focus on like bolt action rifles because there seems to be this stigma attached with the AR platform. Yet here you are shooting competition with an AR platform rifle. On the European side, what's kind of the thoughts of the AR platform in general?
Well, there is different thoughts. There are different law changes, but overall, we have license for that. We have to go through some procedures.
Yeah.
According to the law, you have to be the competitive shooter. to get it,
Oh,
to have a high capacity magazines.
mm-hmm.
So all these things are important, and if you pass all these procedures, that's all good. We can do what we do.
What is the capacity limitations over there?
None.
Oh, none?
None.
Oh, okay. Very good. Well, I wish we don't have any over here either, but people keep wanting to people keep wanting to restrict it to 10-round magazines.
If you are civilian, not you are not related to military, or you are not related to any sports, then it's 10. It's only 10. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm gonna fight that like tooth and nail over here, because I think we like our 30-round mags and 100-round mags, and
United States is a paradise for shooters.
Yeah, we try to be. We got a lot of people attacking it from all angles all the time, though, and it only takes one person who's suffering from mental illness to do some really bad stuff to get that whole conversation fired up again. And it's just a continual battle. I think, we really struggled to figure out a good way to just make sure that firearms are accessible to everybody who can do so legally. And what it boils down to is anybody who's going to do anything bad with a firearm has got some type of mental issue. The problem is diagnosing that and being proactive about it has continued to prove to be one of the most difficult things for a society to do in general, So anyway, because of that, we're constantly being attacked over here with our Second Amendment. But I could talk all day about that, but I'm sure you don't want to. Do you have any stories about a competition where you thought maybe you didn't perform as well as you did, and you ended up being wildly successful? Did you have any kind of good competition stories?
Well, good competition stories.
Yeah.
Well, I probably have like top 5 of my bad competition stories.
Hey, give me one. Let's go with a bad story.
Okay, so the bad story is once I believe it was 2014, I was traveling to Berlin, to Germany, for the competition, and I ended up 4th. And the reason I ended up 4th, because I missed the barricade. It was the same color like a sand behind it. So I should shoot few targets through that barricade.
Yeah.
And I lost in that stage lots of points, and I ended up without a medal. And when you have to come back home like 1,000 kilometers,
yeah,
and you understand that you just lost the medal for such reason,
right?
It's bad experience, but it's still an experience.
Right. Well, and I'm sure you probably competed in that same competition the following year and probably didn't make that mistake again.
Nah, I didn't return there yet.
You didn't do it?
Nah.
Are you going to?
I'm going to.
You're going to.
I'm thinking about that every year, actually, because, those unsuccessful moments when you are losing medals for reason you understand why you made that mistake, and sometimes it's hard,
right?
And when you think about that, I'm every year thinking that I have to come back there and take my medal back.
Oh man, yeah, I couldn't imagine. Well, you had to travel to Germany for that. Is that what you said? Germany,
yeah, Germany.
Do you have to travel a lot for these competitions? Are they always in different locations? Or are they generally in one spot? Or,
well, as a sponsor shooters, that depends on my sponsors. If they give me the budget to do so, I travel. Well, I travel a lot. I was in Florida in World Shoot 2014, like Greece, Portugal, Serbia, Slovakia, the countries around me, like Latvia, Estonia, Poland, same Germany, Czech Republic. Well, lots of countries where I already been to compete. So each year it depends,
Yeah.
as I say, first of all, I'm a regional shooter. I have to take care of the Baltic region, is Estonia, Poland, and later I go to the bigger region like Czech Republic, Slovakia to try it out, because it's really strong regions, because they have factories who make guns, ammo. So it's natural that those countries support their sportsmen a lot. So it's good places to shoot.
Well, it sounds like you do get in quite a bit of travel when you can. How has COVID changed everything up for you? You guys experiencing a lot of restrictions with COVID?
Well, actually, not a lot. During the quarantine, we still, the winter time is the low season. When we have winter, we have snow here, so it's not a lot competition around.
Sure.
But when the season starts, it's spring, summer. Well, it's all those, again, with the quarantine, all these rules changes. You just have to follow the rules. You do what we say, then you can travel. It's not a problem.
Right. Yeah, I didn't know some countries had locked down travel completely, even domestic travel. So I didn't know if you guys had experienced any of that. I know we were like that here for a little while. It seemed like, I mean, people could still travel themselves, but even, our airlines basically shut down for quite a while there, especially last year. So good. I'm glad that you didn't have to experience too much issues with that. So overall, if there's somebody that's listening to this that is interested in maybe getting into competitive shooting, but I got to be honest with you, it's daunting to sit here and think about, man, I'm going to have to, one, convince somebody to support me and sponsor me. Two, I'm going to have to go at least 2 years out of pocket with doing this. Three, all I got's granddad's handguns and rifles. How does that person seriously look at getting started in competitive shooting? Do you have any kind of advice at all?
Well, start from the one gun. And the best choice is a handgun, because it's the basics of all other things. That's why I shot 10 years of handgun. Mm-hmm. And when I went to PCC, rifle, shotgun, it was much, much easier.
Gotcha.
So my advice would be just start from the handgun. It's always, I believe, the cheapest way. You start like production or limited, I think, in USPSA. Mm-hmm. That's the option. That's the cheapest option to get in competition.
Yeah. So what are the things that they should work on as far as, practice goes? Is it going to be, you need to work on getting a quick and consistent draw, or you just need to work on shooting accuracy? You need to work on, shooting on the move. What are the basics you would tell somebody that's brand new? Let's say you're a mentor to a new shooter that's just coming up. What are you training them on first?
Well, first of all, the basics, you have to hit the target. If you can't hit the target, well, it's a way to nowhere.
Yeah.
So first of all, you have to hit the target. And when you can't do that, you have to do it as fast as possible. And you're just doing that faster to get into that comfort zone.
Gotcha. Very cool. So how about when you're looking to try and get sponsorships, what are some things that people could do to try and maybe see about that? I mean, do you have to have like a resume of successful competitions to go out and talk to these companies about actually sponsoring you? How does that work?
Well, first of all, if you have good results in competition, it helps. But we are living, social media times.
Right.
So you can offer the material, you can make the pictures, the movies from competition. There are different ways to do that.
Right.
So that's always, different options. And the main thing, if you want to get sponsors, you have to try get sponsors. Because if you won't try, if you send the email, nobody will contact you, with the offer. You just go and again and again and again. As I always say, you have to send 100 emails.
Yep.
If you will be successful, you will get free answers.
Right.
And those free answers could be, sorry, we have economical issues and we can't help you.
Right.
But then you're sending again 100 emails.
Right.
That's actually what worked for me
Very nice.
in the very beginning, and well, now I have 16 sponsors and I'm really happy. It's like long-term companies.
Right. Yeah,
Which,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
With some of them, I work like for almost 10 years.
yeah. Well, what you're talking about there is actually just, the basics of sales in general, which is, you're not selling a product, but you're actually selling yourself to a company. So you have to build up some value, but it starts off with cold calls. And, the best sales guys in the world may be terrible at selling products, but what they do is hammer the cold calls. And I used to be in sales. I worked in sales for years before this job. And I was pretty successful at it. I just didn't have a passion for it. But back in the day, I mean, my goal was to see how many no's I could get every day. How many no's can I get? And I would set a goal for myself. And you know what? I'm looking for 85 no's today. And so I would call and see how many no's I could get. And guess what? No's were pretty easy to get. So it always felt like I was being successful. But whenever I'd get a yes, it might be one out of that 85. You're like, hey, this is working. But that's the next thing. There's so many people who just get stagnant and want to just hide behind the emails. Like, I don't want to know in person, or I don't want to know over the phone. So I'm just going to send an email. And if they don't respond, I get it. But like, people need to understand, if you are out there and you want to prospect for, potential sponsors or something like that, one, build a value in yourself. Be good at something. Find what it is. Find your niche. If you aren't great at any one individual thing, work on building up other avenues like your social media accounts. Today, we live in a social environment where companies value the amount of followers you have and the engaging content that's on your social platforms. So you can build up your social platforms as best as you can, match that up with whatever skills you've got, and then start reaching out to companies and saying, look, I can provide this, this, and this for you if you sponsor me and help me out. And it's going to be a grind. You actually have to put in a lot of work to do this. And like Marius was just saying, it's going to take several touches. You can't expect for he's got 16 sponsors right now that he considers long-term sponsors. These are reputable companies that'll be around tomorrow, not some fly-by-night that showed up, last month. You can't just expect those companies to say yes automatically right off the bat. A lot of them, just sales in general, it takes 7 to 10 touches. And by touches, I don't mean an email they didn't respond to. I mean an interaction with that person before you actually get a yes. So just keep that in mind. Sales is very hard, but it's a little bit easier when you're trying to sell yourself, So keep that in mind. So I'm glad you touched on that point right there, because that's huge. I think there's a lot of people that try just in any aspect of their life. We need financial support and we need emotional support through sponsors or through any kind of connections on any journey that we set out to. And I feel like there's a lot of people that give up before they even get started, frankly, just because they're uncomfortable with reaching out and seeing who's out there and who's willing to take a chance.
Yeah, if to come back to 2009 when I started IPSC, I didn't even imagine that it's possible.
Yeah.
Until I received that offer, from to become part of the team, and then I learned a lot during that period. So, well, as you say, it's impossible until it's become possible.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Marius, I think we are running close here on time, so I'm going to have to wrap it up and let you go. I appreciate you taking the time out. For those of you who don't know, he's over in Lithuania, which is 7 hours ahead of us, I believe. So you're right there at dinner time. Thank you for cutting out part of your evening to come on and talk with us. If anybody wants to follow you or get engaged with you somehow, just kind of see what it is you're doing, how can they find you?
Well, it's just Google or check my social media, Marius IPSC, like Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube.
I gotcha. I'll post some links up too whenever we publish this episode, so people can people can hopefully click the links. Everybody's lazy today. They don't like to type anything in. They just want to click and go. You know how that is.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming on. You have a great day.
You too. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.